Hi, Angel. Let's go. It is June 21st, 2019. In less than an hour, we're meeting the farm manager of Paradise Farms. To talk about some things that we want to have done on the new property, so that's very exciting. Yesterday we brought our first load over, so the move has begun. He's saying I'm not up for maintaining this place to Shane Beguy's standards. And don't you tell me that I need to maintain this to Shane Beguy's standards, because I don't want to. Because that's all we said. Can you maintain this, please, to Shane Beguy's standards? Because, oh, by the way, that's our standards too. And excuse me for pointing out that thistles up your eyeballs and a petal that is absolutely taken over by burdock is no standard, let alone Shane Beguy's standard. You're not ripping out these boards anymore, honey.
Okay. Interesting. No moving lines. "46. Pushing upward. The judgment. Pushing upward has supreme success. One must see the great man. Fear not. The pushing upward of the good elements encounters no obstruction and is therefore accompanied by great success. The pushing up is made possible not by violence but by modesty and adaptability. Since the individual is borne along by the propitiousness of the time he advances. He must go to see authoritative people. He need not be afraid to do this because success is assured." There you go.
So I would say the great man
Yeah.
is Shane Beguy.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there is a spiritual affinity with the rulers above, and this solidarity creates the confidence needed to accomplish something.
We experienced that when we were sitting with Shane and Marley. The spiritual affinity.
Yes. Mm-hmm. If one is sincere, it furthers one to bring even a small offering, no blame. All obstructions that generally block progress fall away here. Things proceed with remarkable ease.
Oh wait, and there's the graffiti of your children.
Shows you how long I had this book.
That must have been Maya's work.
I think it was the first book I ever bought. This indicates a stage in which pushing upward attains its goal. One acquires fame in the sight of gods and men, is received into the circle of those who foster the spiritual life of the nation, and thereby attains a significance that endures beyond time. That's a very good line, that one. Perseverance brings good fortune. One pushes upward by steps. When a man is advancing farther and farther, it is important for him not to become intoxicated by success. Precisely when he experiences great success, it is necessary to remain sober and not to try to skip any stages. He must go on slowly, step by step, as though hesitant. Only such calm, steady progress, overleaping nothing, leads to the goal.
That's why I said to you, sweetie, this email to Shane Begay doesn't have to get out of the door right now. We're going to take it very slow. We're going to formulate it really well. We're going to back it up really well and make sure we have everything documented. And then it goes out on Monday, because you're not going to bother this man over the weekend with such frivolities like neglected maintenance on his property. That is too much work for the farm manager. Because
he's ready to move on to something else.
He's ready to retire.
He's done with managing Paradise Farms. 6 at the top means pushing upward in darkness. It furthers one to be unremittingly persevering. He who pushes upward blindly deludes himself. He knows only advance, not retreat, but this means exhaustion. In such a case, it is important to be constantly mindful that one must be conscientious and consistent and must remain so. Only thus does one become free of blind impulse, which is always harmful.
Well, that was pretty clear, huh?
Yeah.
And if a hummingbird would show up, my life would be complete. How are you feeling, Angel?
I feel fine. Weather's fine. Weather's good. We're gradually sorting out who's who in the zoo as far as Paradise Farms is concerned. And well, we know that the farm manager is not going to get in the way of our doing anything, because he's just trying to stay out of sight, out of mind. And he just wants to, don't really, just don't bother me. You know what I mean? I don't return emails. I don't answer telephone calls. There's nothing on that list that is in any way, shape, or form beyond what you would expect from if there was normal maintenance being carried out on a regular basis on the property.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And obviously the normal regular maintenance has not happened, and we're just saying, get your shit together. And the notion that this property could be handed over to us with these issues not resolved is ridiculous. And when Shane gets present to what we are actually asking and what that looks like, he is going to be in 100% agreement that it's ridiculous to ask us to clean up the mess that was left by his farm manager, because he couldn't be bothered doing his job, really. And there's the school bus. Hi, sweetie. We're going to pick up Alicia at 5 and then scoot to the new property and actually drive in and walk around and look at the barns and everything.
Really high security.
Yes.
No, let's have Mishka put the code in. Mishka!
He can walk in.
Yes.
Mishka, do you want to get back in or? I'm gonna change. Cool girl.
Wow, that was a big jump, sweetie. That was a big jump.
Yeah, you can go in any place as long as it's unlocked. This is a paddock. It's previously been used to house animals. I think it was llamas and goats that lived in here. It's rather overgrown with thistles at this point. Usually when you're maintaining a paddock or a pasture like this, you mow the thistles down before they go to seed or even before they flower.
They're as tall as you, honey.
Yes. I don't doubt that this work will get done, and that Rob was going to do it anyway. And
I know.
as to why he had to complain about it, I have no idea. Except he'd really like his employer to fire him because he's had enough. This it needs some attention because it's leaking constantly. It's overflowing. The float inside needs to be adjusted, and the bowls need to be emptied and then cleaned out. Again, just routine maintenance. So let's keep going. It's a large bin feeder. It's suitable for feeding cattle. We're not doing that here. We would like this to be removed from this paddock where the horses will eventually be here. No, this is a water that obviously has not been used or cleaned in a while. So here are some dead trees, very dead. They've obviously been dead quite a while. They're at a stage where they're going to start dropping limbs, and these limbs are dangerous to any animals that might be here, and certainly dangerous to any humans that might happen to be in these paddocks. So these trees need to be removed as soon as possible.
And there's already a big limb that dropped.
Yes. These are wheat trees growing on the fence, under the fence. If they're left here for much longer, they'll start to negatively impact the fence. They will actually grow through the fence and start to break it apart. So just a general maintenance practice is to remove any trees that are growing on the fences or under the fences or anywhere close to the fences. This area was used to feed cattle for a period of time. Accumulation of manure around one of the feeders, around both of the feeders. There's also a fair amount of damage that has been done by equipment that came in here, probably bringing in feed for the cattle. So what we're looking for here is all the manure needs to be cleaned out, and the damage to the ground repaired.
And this is done by a vehicle.
It's done by a tractor. Okay, yeah. I'm not hanging around. Sorry. There's a bunch of manure. Again, the noxious weeds, the burdock and the thistles need to be mowed regularly and keep them from reproducing and taking over. Okay, so here's a hose. Do you know what's happening at the other end of this hose?
I don't know. So there hasn't been any proper flashing put on this windowsill, so it totally rotted out. So this needs to be addressed. This is just a construction fill, huh?
Yeah. It just was a patch job. There was a gap. They used caulking to cover the gap rather than a piece of flashing. So caulking fails, especially in an application like that. Always fails. So the water is going to a watering tank in that field.
Oh,
It's just something to note because there's going to be more of it, and it could be 100 head of cattle drinking from our well, which impacts how much water we have available for sure, and and there's an expense involved in pumping the water. I'm with her. I don't want to spend a lot of time.
no, I know.
Because we're doing a lot of running around.
I know.